Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of Dylan Knows, episode 483, Jousting for Sex. This is your cure for insomnia. If you have insomnia, just listen to my droning, endless, boring voice and you will go to sleep, I promise you. Or you maybe not, I don't know. Anyway, how are you doing? It is, God, what day is it? January 21st, 2023. Tomorrow, in about 20 minutes, is Lunar New Year. The year of the rabbit starts tomorrow, the 22nd of January. It's also my nephew's birthday. He'll be 22 also. Imagine that. Kind of interesting. So, what do we got going on this week? Well, excuse me a second. I apparently have had for the last few days a very bad sore throat and mucus buildup. And so you're going to see me do that a lot, what you just saw. We're going to talk a lot about octopi. Yes, octopuses, octopi, whatever you want to call them. Some deaths, some season enders. I mean, they're actually I should say show ending season finales. Not season finales, season enders, I should say, of a bunch of shows. Bunch of sex talk, obviously. Cartoon stuff, Steven Spielberg. What else we got? Netflix went crazy again and did their it's now becomes an annual thing where they release a trailer with all their big movies coming out through the end of the year, including one shitty, crappy piece of crap that nobody should ever watch from Zack Snyder coming out in December. But that's all I'm going to say about that. I'm not even going to mention it when I talk about the Netflix stuff because who the frick wants to hear about that bullshit. Adam Sandler, John LaRoquette, Night Court, Anniversaries, Biker Mice from Mars, Mountain Dew, Sarah Michelle Gellar, John Carpenter, Megan, Michael Jackson, Channing Tatum. What else we got? Bears, animals, lots and lots of animal stuff today. Lots of stuff start filming or have beginning filming dates also. So let's get to it. First up, as I always do, whenever I get something new, I like to try it first thing off. Last week, it's a zero sugar one. Oh, damn it. Oh, well. Don't matter. Well, I'll take it anyway. I didn't see the zero sugar on there. But last week I talked to you about how Sierra Mist no longer exists, and instead they put in its place Starry. I saw it at my grocery store this week, and I picked it up, but I did not see it was zero sugar, so it's probably going to taste like shit. Got the aftertaste for the zero sugar, but it tastes like Sierra Mist. They say it's going to be sweeter, so maybe the one that has sugar in it, maybe it will be sweeter, but the zero sugar version tastes exactly like Sierra Mist. So if you like Sierra Mist, go ahead and pick up Starry. Also, my throat might be all fucked up, but to me, the taste buds on the tongue, the exception of as I said, the no sugar chemical they put in there, it tastes like Sierra Mist. So, all right, so there we go. Mark that off your list now. So what should you start with? Yeah, we'll start with the big thing. It's not a big thing, but I've been a fan of the Scream movies for a while. They first came out in 97 and had a cast of beautiful looking people at that time. Nev Campbell and Courtney Cox, Matthew Lillard, Jamie Kennedy, Rose McGowan, all that type of stuff. And it was directed by Wes. And it was filmed by, it was written by Kevin Williamson and Wes Craven. I was trying to think of Wes's name. And it pretty much basically brought horror back to the forefront with a definitely a different style of slasher film. You're used to the Freddys and the Jasons and the Texas Chainsaw Massacres and stuff like that, where you know who the killer is. Well, they decided to flip that script a little bit and have the killer not be known until the end of the movie. So that became a big deal. Came out in December, was a huge hit. So such a big hit that they wanted to push for a sequel as soon as possible. So they literally, after the film came out, they got back together, filmed the sequel, and it came out literally a year later. Actually, they filmed it during the summer, and then it came out a year later. That one had Sarah Michelle Gellar added to the cast, Jada Pinkett, and the like that. And that spawned off a third one that came out a few years later, which ended the trilogy. And then about 15, 20 years later, they released Scream 4, which brought back, what's his face? Deputy Dewey, who's married to Courtney Cox. I forget his name right now. David Arquette, Courtney Cox, and Nev Campbell all came back. And then we had a new group of kids like that. And then it took a break again for a little while. And then the fifth one came out last year and became a huge hit in 2021, this time around 2021. So they decided they need to push for a new one. So Scream 6 is due out in March this year. The new Scream came out last year, has a young actress by the name of Jenna Ortega, who has recently taken off with Wednesday, so they're focusing more on her now. Nev Campbell did not return for Scream 6 due to contract negotiations. Courtney Cox is back, though, and the first trailer for it came out, and I'm telling you, this movie looks absolutely vicious, and it looks freaking absolutely fantastic. Scream 6 takes place in New York. It looks like they're flipping the script again on the storyline, and I think it's going to be absolutely brilliant. I may have to see this in movie theaters, which means I have to get caught up. I haven't seen 4 or 5 yet. I have 4. I need to buy 5 from Amazon, so I probably will, and I'll probably watch it within the next few months so that I can get caught up so that I can watch it when it comes out in movie theaters. So I kind of really want to see it because it looks vicious. It looks hard. It looks like the killer is not going to be one of the random kids that has been hired. It looks like he's going to be someone who is a seasoned professional. Cue the rumors that Matthew Lillard is coming back. I don't think it will be because that would be kind of dumb, but it would be interesting to see where this movie goes, but it looks absolutely stunningly brilliant, and I can't wait to see it. Alec Baldwin has been charged with involuntary manslaughter in that accident he had on that set back in April, where he discharged a gun that killed a worker on the movie that he was working on. Everyone's making a big deal about the right wing, particularly because Alec Baldwin was the one that dared to parody their God King and Trump on Saturday Night Live. And if you can't take a parody, then you're just a whiny little bitch, just like the former president was. And the fact is they're cheering on an involuntary manslaughter charge for Alec Baldwin, while also cheering on Kyle Rittenhouse, who actually physically went with intent to kill 2 people and did, and got off due to white supremacist judge and fucking broken court system. Involuntary manslaughter has happened in Hollywood before. John Landis is the biggest one, particularly about that, with the Twilight Zone, the movie accident that happened with the death of Vic Morrow and 2 Vietnamese children in a helicopter accident where they got decapitated, which is absolutely awful. But he got off on that. Everybody seems to not quite know how the court system works. He's been charged with involuntary manslaughter, but he ain't going to jail until the court case is over. And that court case ain't going to happen probably till this summer at the earliest, maybe the fall for that matter. So for all you people who are screaming, lock him up, just go fuck yourselves. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about, you dumb, stupid shitheads. Luckily, that's all I have to talk about this week about any political stuff. So if you are a friend of the Republican Party, I apologize for my rudeness, but you really need to change your affiliation, but that's just me. I hope that didn't piss anyone off. Sorry. Anyway, let's switch back to some nicer, cool stuff. How about Snow. Y'all love snow, right? Maryland used to get annual snow all the time, and then after we had that big burst a few years back, it was more than a few years back, like 5-10 years ago. We've had basically not a lot of snow. We've had some storms periodically come through, but nothing bigger than, at least I think the biggest storm we've had over the last decade or so has been maybe 6 to 10 inches, and that's it. And that's enough, but there was a period of time there we had snow every week in the winter. It could have been anything but a flurry or whatever, but it's been absolutely insane. But it's been very, very dry when it comes to snow over the last 5 to 10 years. So it's been kind of weird. So everybody was predicting that we were going to get huge snowfall this year because it's been about time. And now here we are, almost the end of January, and no snow has occurred. Maybe some flurries, but there's no snow in the forecast. I think we have rain coming up this week, maybe potential for some snow. Snow potential on Wednesday is 100%, but temperature is 45 degrees, so don't expect it to stick around all that much. But other than that, I don't see really anything coming of that. But the reason why I keep bringing this up is head on out to what do you call it? Mammoth Lake, California, up there in the Sierra Nevadas, mountain territory, stuff like that. This is not a typo. This is not a lie. This is actual truth. They have received this winter alone between 378 inches and 500 inches of snow. Not a typo, not a fake story, not fake news. 378 inches to 504 inches of snow in Mammoth Lake, California this year alone. There's pictures that are floating around the internet right now of the snow. One particular is a Carl's Jr., which is like a hearty sort of restaurant out there. Has the drive-through, light-up drive-through thing is there, and it's got just like snow up about 2 or 3 feet above it, and then all around it, the restaurant is covered in snow. It's all piled up. You can barely see the restaurant. It's insane how much snow that they're getting, and that is fairly impressive. I've already done that. Did that. We're going to do this early right now. An ancient creature used a trident to joust for sex 400 million years ago. I guess it's similar to the rutting of moose and elk. Not moose so much, but elk, who, if you ever go to Yellowstone during the fall and you're wandering through here, you hear all these boom, 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 boom. That ain't guns. Those are elk smacking each other's heads around with their antlers till one of them says, "Fuck you, man. I'm tired of this. I have a headache. I'm done. You can have the bitch." So that's kind of interesting. So using a trident to joust for sex, I thought that would make a good title, because it's a proven fact that if you have sex or porn or something else in your title of your episode, you're going to get a lot of views. Now, are they going to stay for the whole show? Probably not. They'll just come in to say, "Hey, I want to hear about more of this jousting for sex stuff." Oh, it's just this boring ass dude who hates Republicans and is kind of a dickhead talking about shit. So well, that's kind of interesting. So there you go. There is your jousting for sex moment. Speaking of which, planet sex. Hey, why not? We're on a roll right now. 13 minutes in. It's just before midnight. Hell with it. Let's just do it right now, early on. Maybe get people hooked in here 13 minutes in. Planet Sex is a brand new Hulu docuseries. The trailer came out about it. It's going to be focusing on, just sex in general on this planet. And the Cara Delevingne or something like that, who was in the Suicide Squad movie, not the James Gunn one, but the other one. I think it's the host or something like that. She visits a porn library and a masturbation seminar. Now, there used to be like a docu-series kind of on HBO, which I used to watch in my formative years, called Real Sex, where it's basically a half-hour docu-series. Basically sounds like what this is, where it had sexual overtones. So there was an episode they did once about Pure Mature, which is a woman-run porn industry where they make porn movies that aren't quite as stupid and dumb as regular porn movies are. These have more about sensual sex, and instead of just let's see how hard I can pound the woman and make her scream, whereas this is more sensual about the opening up of the flower, as it were, and stuff like that. And then they did stuff about that. They did stuff about, what was another one I just had in my mind here? There was like mutual masturbation things. There was, and it was a documentary about sex that had sex and nudity content in it. Now, it wasn't the whole thing, showing everything as it were, but it did show stuff hence it was on HBO. So I'm assuming if this is on Hulu, I'm wondering if the same thing is going to happen with this, if they're actually going to show some of the stuff like that. The fact that it's on Hulu, I'm not so sure about. So we'll see about that. Already marked it off. Let's talk documentaries. There's a ton of documentaries discussions here, two of which are the reason why they're being talked about now is that Sundance is going on right now, which is the one of the premier film festivals in the country, along with South by Southwest is another one. But Sundance is going on right now. And the first documentary that I want to talk about is a Michael J. Fox documentary that has been done about his Parkinson's battle. And Michael J. Fox is always great to see back on film and stuff like that. To see him, and the fact that he's in a documentary is outstanding to see that. There's apparently, this is actually going to be, I think, South by Southwest. There's a Star Wars holiday special, making of the Star Wars holiday special documentary getting made, is released at the South by Southwest festival coming up. And coming up soon, it hasn't been made yet, but it has been announced, Steven Spielberg is going to make a documentary about his great friend and probably the greatest composer of the 20th century and 21st century, Mr. John Williams. So we're going to see a documentary that Steven Spielberg will be directing about his friend John Williams. That I can't wait to see. That should be really, really cool. So I can't wait to see that, and hopefully it'll be a good one. Regal Cinemas is going to be shutting down 39 theaters across the country. I took a look at the list. There are 2 in Maryland, 1 in Rockville, and 1 somewhere else. There's the only other one that I know of is out in Hunt Valley, which my dad and stepmom go to all the time. So I was a little bit worried that one's going to be shut down. It is not, so it'll still be open. So that Regal one will still be open. Because honestly, if you think about it, it is the only movie theater out there. There's not any in Cockeysville anymore. There's not any in Timonium anymore. There used to be one in Timonium. Used to be one in Cockeysville also. No, there was never one in Cockeysville. Timonium and York Ridge was the other one, which is basically, Timonium, but not quite, But those are gone now. So the only movie theater out that can service the Hunt Valley, Cockeysville, Timonium sort of area is that one, the Regal Cinema out there in Hunt Valley. Now they also have the one in Towson, but that's a little bit more of a hike for the people who go out there. So don't have to worry about that one, but it is still a shock that, despite the fact that James Cameron is saying, oh yeah, it's time to stop thinking about streaming and movies are coming back, that, there's still movie theaters getting shut down due to bankruptcy claims. So you can just shut the fuck up, Mr. James Cameron. You don't know what the hell you're talking about. Dumb shit. Cobra Kai, who has been extraordinarily successful, had a trailer release this week that announced the end of the series with this final season that is coming out very soon. I guess they're filming right now, or they're going to start filming soon. Their 6th season will be their last one. On Netflix, I don't know if they're going to try to get picked up by someone else, but Netflix says we're going to end their series with season 6. And to be honest, it's probably the best place to end it, because you don't want to keep going on and on, because it's the same stories are going to start getting played out. And there's only so much that nostalgia can do for you. Mm-hmm. And they're starting to reach that point where Okay, we need to sort of tie all this together and let's finish this. Also, NCIS Los Angeles with Chris O'Donnell and LL Cool J is shutting down after 14 seasons as well. So those are two big ones that are heading out of the way. On the upside, Tiny Toons Luniversity is an HBO Max reboot of the Tiny Toons cartoon is due for a 2023 release. And Noah Hawley's Alien TV show based on the Alien movies, the ones with Sigourney Weaver, a visual effects editor has said that all the scripts have been finished so they can start working on the visual effects. And then the filming is probably going to start very shortly. So I would assume we will probably see the Alien show maybe late 2024, depending on certain things, maybe 2025, maybe, but I think we should probably see it late 2024, probably. Ed Reed, former Ravens great, who's in the Hall of Fame, is no longer will be the football coach at Bethune-Cookman. He lasted only about 20 days, and then they released him. I still don't know why. Nobody's been told about that. Ed Reed was part of the Ravens football squad that 10 years ago this week won the championship game against Tom Brady and the Patriots that led them into their Super Bowl against San Francisco, which they eventually won. So that anniversary happened 10 years ago. Actually, it was literally today, I believe, or yesterday, that they had that game here. The first of a couple octopi stories. We got a couple more, I think, coming up. An octopus escapes an aquarium through a 106-foot drain pipe into the sea. It was his own Shawshank Redemption. And a couple captures rare footage of a giant squid. I know it's not quite octopus, but it's in sort of the same sort of family. A giant squid swimming off the coast of Japan. This is not octopus related, but it is sea related. Sailor survived 24 days at sea eating only ketchup and food seasoning. I guess after he ran out of food or something like that. He's been straight out of sea. One of the big deaths this week was David Crosby, dead 81, was a founding member of Crosby, Stills, and Nash, and eventually became Crosby, Stills, Nash, and Young. He was also the sperm donor for Melissa Etheridge's children. So good on that for him to be able to do that. So that's the first half of the series in the books. Still on the deaths, as I got one more on this page. Legendary Philadelphia DJ Jerry Biavat, dead at the age of 82. That's a more local Philadelphia thing, but it showed up on my feed, so I figured, why not mention it? I don't know how you can become a famous DJ in Philly, but at the age of 82, he was a DJ if it was in the 80s, he was a DJ when he was in his 40s, so that's kind of interesting. So good on that. Let's see. What do we got? Agatha, the Coven of Chaos, has started filming the new MCU TV series with Catherine Hahn and Abby. She's hosting Staying Live right now. Saturday Night Live. I gotta see who's hosting. Aubrey Plaza, yes. So Aubrey Plaza has also been cast in the Agatha Coven of Chaos, as is the wonderful, glorious Deborah Jo Rupp, who appeared with the great and wonderful Kurtwood Smith in the new That 90s Show. I might check that out next weekend. My family is on a camping trip next weekend. I have a free weekend. I might check out that series next weekend. But Agatha Coven of Chaos has started filming, so they're working on that right now. Right now. The Wonder Man MCU series is set to start filming in March. And Blade is finally getting back on track with Tashahana Ali. They are supposedly starting May 30th with filming. So they've got, I guess, everything worked out. They have a director. They got a new script. Tashahana Ali is excited, I guess. So they're going to move on with that. Let's see if there's any other... starting production stuff. I'm just seeing if there's anything I connect to all this before I move on. Two other stuff. I don't think there's going to be anything else here. So I'm almost done. And by the time I get to it, yep. So, nope. All right. Emma Stone has been cast in Edgar Wright's new film, The Chain. Edgar Wright is a film geeks, one of their favorite directors. So a new film from him is always get people excited for that. Osha Roquemore has been cast in Captain America 4 in a major role. So that's a new cast member on that. That's good. The Powerpuff Girls and Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends are getting reboots from Cartoon Network. So we'll be seeing more reboots of those shows, as well as other ones we discussed on here. What else we got here? Loki gets a brand new Marvel comic where he's going to be fighting his variants. Gee, I wonder where they got that idea from. Loki season 2 comes out this summer. Let's see. Oh, yeah. The Rami leaked to star in a Buster Keaton series from the Batman director, Matt Reeves. Rami Malek, when I saw a picture of him next to Buster Keaton, it was like, oh my God, that's perfect casting. So we should see that coming up really soon. Mark Hamill says he will probably not reprise his role as the voice role as the Joker in any more animated stuff without Kevin Conroy, who passed away last year. So that's kind of good, I guess. No, I mean, it's if he's, he loved Kevin Conroy, so he doesn't want to do it without him. So that makes perfect sense. So just bear with me here. Taylor Sheridan is probably one of the hottest TV producers out there right now. He's got a ton of shows that are all hugely popular, but his biggest bit is the Yellowstone series. So you get Yellowstone, which has Kevin Costner, and it's about it's like a crime drama that takes place in Wyoming, Montana, on a farm out there and stuff like that. But Kevin Costner's the lead, and they've had one of the guys from Lost was in it, Josh, whatever his name was, and all kinds of stuff. And it became a huge hit. And then Taylor Sheridan decided he wanted to examine the history of the Yellowstone farm. So he created a spinoff of Yellowstone called 1883 that had Sam Elliott in it. And it did fairly well in the ratings. And they did another spinoff, which is currently running right now, which is 1923 with Harrison Ford and Helen Mirren in it. So now we go back to the Yellowstone 1883. That show was hugely popular. Taylor Sheridan said, we need a spinoff of that show. So a spinoff of a spinoff of a show is now in development with Dennis Quaid in it. It is going to be called 1883. Where is it right now? 1883, The Bass Reeves Story, and it's going to star Dennis Quaid. So, that's one of the things about Taylor Sheridan. He's able to get these semi-big stars to be in it. Jeremy Renner's in his movie. It's a show about Mayor of Easttown. Sylvester Stallone is that mob guy in that one movie, that one show that just came out here as well. So he continues to get good cast here. And then that's that Nicole Kidman and Morgan Freeman are going to be in that new CIA one he's developing. So he gets the big stars in there. That's why he's popular. So a spinoff of a spinoff is in the works now by Taylor Sheridan with Dennis Quaid in the role. Sarah Michelle Gellar has a lot to say this week, and she appears more than once on my show this week. This is just the first one. She is out promoting her new show Wolfpack, which she's a producer of, and to show her clout as a producer, and also to reflect back on what happened with Buffy and stuff like that. She removed a crew member from the set of Wolfpack who was getting a little handsy with an actor after the actor said no. So Sarah Michelle Gellar was able to step in, fire the dude, and move on and like a boss, like she is. Mountain Dew Pitch Black is back in stores. I got my 12-pack. I've had about 2 or 3 of them. Not quite as I remember it. It's not grape flavored. It's more of a weird tropical sort of flavor, but not your typical tropical flavor. It's interesting tasting. but I don't know if I'll buy another 12-pack of it, but it's still pretty good. So go ahead and check that out if you haven't yet. World's loneliest house on a deserted island is listed for $339,000, which doesn't make any sense because there's probably no electricity or phone, because it's literally the only thing on this deserted island in the middle of the water. Now, I don't know how far away the coast is. The picture they took of it was a little bit from a distance, so couldn't really tell, how close it was to land, but it appears that there's no television or water or anything like that. And to sell for $339K house, this house I'm in is $250K. So, and it has everything. So I don't understand that, but okay, if you're into that, go ahead, go for it. Let's see, animal stuff here. Blockbuster themed bar. Blockbuster keeps coming back in some form or another. Now there's a Blockbuster themed bar out and about. I talked about the loneliest house being for sale now, but there's also a whole city block in Avalon, New Jersey, which is also up for sale right now, which is kind of interesting to buy a whole block and decide what you want to do with it. There was another story that came on after this one in my feed about a couple that bought a town in Washington State. That was a small town, but whatever, and they're running it now too. So it's kind of interesting to see that they're selling entire plots of land like that, and what you could do with it's really amazing if you have the money anyway. I've been contemplating, there's a church that is no longer, I think, working. It doesn't appear to be anybody there. Nobody appears to be going there. It appears, it's in a little bit disrepair. I wouldn't mind taking over the church and starting like my own religion. I think that'd be kind of cool. It's a nice church. It's a nice location. It has all the amenities already said. It's got a rectory. It's got a classrooms. It's got a beautiful church. It's in the middle of a nice yard and good stuff. I mean, it's in the middle of a neighborhood, but still, it's kind of nice. It's not going to happen probably, but it'd be kind of nice to think about periodically. A new found alien planet has a nuclear fission going on in its core, which a lot of people believe is sort of a weird amalgamation of a star planet sort of mixing together. We don't have nuclear fission going on in our core. We have a solid molten iron core sort of thing going on, as do most of the planets here that we know about. Jupiter, even though it's a gas giant, still has this big iron core in the middle of it as well. But none have a nuclear fusion going on in the middle of it, which is kind of an interesting aspect. If you could harness that in some way and it's not dangerous for you, it might be an interesting planet to take a look at and see what it's like. So we continue with that. February 5th, ESPN's 30 for 30 reveals the new documentary about the 2000 Baltimore Ravens Super Bowl team called The Bullies of Baltimore. I really am looking forward to seeing that because I really enjoyed that one. It was their first Super Bowl they ever won, and their Super Bowl run coincided with me meeting my wife and dating her, so that was kind of cool. There's another one. Another show that is ending this year is Outlander is ending with season 8, but they have announced a prequel. So all you Outlander fans, don't worry. You'll get a prequel coming up about that. I guess with some of these animal stories. Oh, no, we'll do this real quick. Oldest rune stone in history is found in Norway. A lot of people are interested about that, but it is the oldest rune stone in history, so it's in Norway right now. Some local news, Steak and Ale Steakhouse is coming back. I remember there was one when I was growing up, when I was like 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years old that we used to go to, not that far from where I grew up. So that's kind of interesting to see that come back. And the Oregon Grill, which has been sitting vacant for a while, and I was wondering why it was. It's a really, really nice restaurant right up there in the heart of Hunt Valley. And I took my wife there on our 3-month anniversary. The one stipulation they have is you had to wear a tie, no matter what. They had them available if you did not have it with you. They had set out a patio outside where you can eat with fire, stuff around you and eat out. And it's a nice, it's right near Oregon Ridge Park, which is really cool. So, excuse me. So Oregon Ridge is set to reopen January 30th with a brand new company has taken it over, and they refurbished the whole entire inside. So it might be interesting. It's expensive, but it still might be interesting to check that out and see what it looks like. Also, local news: 12 million year old whale skull was found in the Chesapeake Bay this week. A fossil of that, so that's kind of cool. And Greg Roman, the Ravens offensive coordinator, has resigned after the Ravens came up short in their playoff game on Sunday, losing by 7 on a disastrous play, which could have put them ahead and moved them into the playoffs, but instead it took them back. It was a 4th and goal, I guess, and it was supposed to be a quarterback sneak, and the quarterback went high when he should have gone low. The ball was knocked out of his hands. The Bengals grabbed it, ran it back 98 yards for a touchdown. That's how it ended the game, 24-7. So, bleh. Before I get the animals, we got the Quest for Tom Sawyer. Tom Sawyer's Gold trailer is a new family film. Looks like a combination of a coming-of-age story with a National Treasure-esque story about a history about Mark Twain, who wrote about, in the book Tom Sawyer, there's a hunt for pirate treasure, stuff like that. Mark Twain, supposedly in this film, is based on a true story. He put that in the book to make it live forever, stuff like that. So this group of kids and their mom go to try to find it, and there's a guy who's trying to stop them. Stars, secondary actors, Paul Muldoon and Joey Lauren Adams. So Patrick Muldoon, excuse me. But it looks cute, and don't know if it's going to make it to theaters, but it looks cute anyway. Kind of some sad news. Actor Julian Sands, who was in Arachnophobia and Leaving Las Vegas, and I think there's one where he's like an evil devil or angel or something like that. He has been what's the word I'm looking for? There was a hiker missing in an area called Mount Baldy since last Friday, and they finally released who it was. And this actor Julian Sands is the hiker who has been missing in the wilds of Mount Baldy since last Friday. So either he was hiking or something like that, and something happened, and he died, or he's still lost in the woods somewhere, surviving. We'll find out, and we might not find out till they find a body or skeletal remains. We might not find out for about a year or two. They're searching the area now. Hopefully they'll find it, and hopefully it'll be a happy ending. But more and more sounds likely that being lost in the woods is usually not something that you're going to be found too often. So it's an ongoing story. We'll follow it up if we get more information when we do. A bunch of animal stories right now because I love my animals. You know that. Cat loves a horse, so they are inseparable. There's pictures of the cat riding the horse, which is really kind of cute. A cat and an iguana, pet cat and a pet iguana are best friends, running around and playing like that. I've never seen a cat and iguana playing before, but hey, that's kind of cool. A lion, a bear, and a tiger have all been friends after being rescued from abusive owners, and they grew up together, so now they're all friends. It's always nice to see those types of stories. A woman kept seeing bears in her backyard, so a mom bear and her cubs. So she decided to give them something fun to play with. So she bought a hammock and hung it up, and then sat back and watched. And she videotaped the mama bear and the baby bears playing on the hammock. So that's kind of cute about that. 2 more animal stories, and then we'll do some anniversary thing. Woman is running a marathon. Okay, she's running a marathon, and she happens to notice a stray puppy hanging around. So she decides to stop running, pick it up, and finishes the marathon with the puppy. And she eventually is probably going to adopt it. But it's kind of fun that she found a stray puppy and ran with it through her marathon. And this wasn't like, near the end of the marathon. It's like around the middle of it. So it's kind of interesting and funny about that. And this is always good news. A nearly extinct tree kangaroo has been discovered to have had a baby, which is a good sign that the species may be starting to recover, which is good. Those are always good stories. Oh, I can't believe I got the zero sugar one. Black. And the last thing on this page is the anniversary, 15 years of Breaking Bad. This week, Breaking Bad premiered 15 years ago. All right. Back in the late 80s, Kevin Eastman and I forget the other guy created a independent comic that they called Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Now, back in the 80s, comics were starting to get really big again. DC had their Crisis Event, which rebooted the entire series. So got more fans in there. Marvel was always big as well with all their stuff. So the independents were starting to get a little bit of voice with the arrival of retail shops. And Diamond Comics, which is where I used to work, was a retail distributor of comics. So comics could now be distributed to all this stuff. So now there was more comics that needed to be, made, not just Marvel and DC. So more Peter Laird and Kevin Eastman needed to make comics. So in the late 80s, they created a comic called Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, which became a huge hit. It was an independent comic, was a huge hit. And right soon after that, people started parodying it like crazy. One of those happened to be Biker Mice from Mars, which, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Biker Mice from Mars, you get the kind of gist. There was other ones. There's like Adolescent Radioactive Black Belt Hamsters was another one. Anyway, you flash forward to about the early 90s, I guess. And Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is hugely popular. So a cartoon company decides, hey, let's make a cartoon about the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and have a toy line, all that stuff. And sure enough, the cartoon was a big hit. The toy line was a big hit. So again, people are just like, we need to do more of that. So they created they looked through the old style independents and discovered Biker Mice from Mars and decided we need to make a cartoon of this. And the cartoon literally came out right after Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles did, and it did successful, apparently. Well, apparently, fast forward to 2023, about 30 years later, Biker Mice from Mars are getting a reboot as well as a new toy line. So, good on you, I guess. I guess it was just something that just kind of bored. They're like, we need to find something new, but not new. They found this because Gargoyles is getting a big hit with their comic now. So bangarang, let's go. What the hell did I write here? Oh, Shrinking trailer. Apple TV series starring Jason Segel and Harrison Ford. It is a TV series. Basically, Jason Segel plays a psychiatrist who loses his wife and is now a single father, and he's losing control of himself, and he's trying to help his patients, but he's not doing a good job. So eventually he decides to just actually help them instead of just talking to them, to actually go out there and help them do stuff and fix stuff. So that's what the show is going to be about. So that got the first trailer for that coming up. Sarah Michelle Gellar, double story here, says it's okay to still love Buffy the Vampire Slayer despite the whole Joss Whedon stuff. We've been saying that for a while now, and she's just adding that to her as well. And after she did Buffy, she took a little bit of a breather, but then she did a show called Ringer, which my wife and I enjoyed immensely, where she played twins. And it lasted one season, and then it did not get a second season. We always thought that was because the ratings weren't that good, and UPN or WB, whoever had it, didn't want to do another show, another season, because it didn't do as well. Well, during this, press junket for Wolfpack, Sarah Michelle Gellar actually revealed she was the one that said, I can't do this because she just had her son, Rocky. And literally just had him with that right after, I guess, the end of the filming of Ringer season 1, and then before the beginning of season 2 could start. I guess she was maybe pregnant during that. I don't know, but apparently she said like that it was an unexpected pregnancy, and so she wanted to have the kid. So she said, I just can't do mom stuff and this show, so we're just gonna drop Ringer, not do a second season. So that kind of makes sense in the end. So there's your Sarah Michelle Gellar for this week. Night Court, the reboot of Night Court. The first episode came out on Tuesday and set major records. It was a huge, massive hit. And it's probably going to continue to continue to staying huge. So I have not watched it. Probably will not watch it because I don't really watch too much network television anymore. Plus, it's hard to just go back to something like that. But there you go. All right, what's next? Jared Leto's Tron 3 movie is back on the schedule with Joachim Ronning to direct. So Jared Leto's going to get a chance to do It's Morbin time, but this time it's Troning time, I guess. Baja Blast, Mountain Dew Baja Blast is being turned into a hot sauce because, why not? Some hot sauces have sort of that sort of, what do you call it, tropical sort of flair to them. The Naked Gun reboot with Liam Neeson is set to start filming this summer. So good on that. Eli Roth, who made the disturbing Hostel movies, has made a virtual reality movie called a Valentine's Day slasher film called Be Mine. The killer is a statue-looking Cupid, which is really creepy, but is a VR experience where you're from your perspective and you see all this stuff. So it looks wild, and it will not be in movie theaters. Only available on like VR headsets and stuff like that. I can't read my handwriting there, but there is a new Irish folk horror film just in time for St. Patrick's Day. Will be coming out very soon as well. Kenneth Branagh has sort of had a rebirth. He was always known as like the Shakespeare guy, and then he did his one little quick stint in Harry Potter, but then he wanted to start bringing back and directing Agatha Christie movies because they were hugely popular back in the day, and he wanted to do a take on them. So he's directed 2 of these Agatha Christie movies. Murder on the Orient Express, and I forget what the other one that just came out is. But they both have done pretty successful, pretty good. So he's got a third one coming now, and he's himself is starring as Poirot, who's the main investigator of that. Now, the 2 original movies that he did are set in the 1930s. The next one he's doing is he changed. I forget the name of what the actual name of the book from Agatha Christie is, but he changed it to A Haunting in Venice. And it is a different story than the other Agatha Christie ones, but it does have Poirot in it. And the difference is that the other ones were set in the 1930s. This novel that Agatha Christie wrote was set in present times, which at that time was 1969. So they don't know if Branagh's going to stick with the time jump because the storyline, the date of it does have a effect on the movie itself. So they're waiting to see, but that is the next movie he's going to do in the Agatha Christie stuff. So they're going to just wait and see how he's going to tackle it. If he's going to do the time jump, or is he going to set it in the time frame of the other one? Death on the Nile, that's the other one. He's going to set the same time frame as Murder on the Orient Express and Death on the Nile. So we'll find out, but that's what Kenneth Branagh will be doing next. That's Netflix stuff. We'll talk about Netflix stuff coming up here in a second. Assault on Precinct 13, which was John Carpenter's kind of first sort of movie, is going to be getting the 4 HD treatment as well as getting a re-release in movie theaters. Now, there's a show on Netflix called The Movies That Made Us, and one of my favorite episodes is the one about Halloween. And basically it follows sort of like the trajectory of the early part of the show is the trajectory of how the director started, and then it focuses on that movie and the behind the scenes stuff and all the stuff going about that. So it's literally about a 5-minute bit in the beginning of the movie, which talks a little bit about the trajectory of or the history that led to this movie and stuff like that. But Assault on Precinct 13 wasn't his first movie. Dark Star was his first one, but this was kind of his follow-up to that, and it did okay in the United States, but not great. But I did not know this, but once it went over to London, it was part of a film festival, and it won the film festival, and the people in England absolutely loved the movie and made it a huge hit. So when that was get back to that, they wanted to get a movie with this guy, and so Halloween came out from that. So that's kind of interesting. But so it's good to see Assault on Precinct 13 getting a 4H treatment and a a film release. Now they did a remake of it, I think, with Antoine Fuqua and Ethan Hawke. I think they did that one. So that was a remake of it. The basic premise is, it's a police station during the winter or whatever, and the people inside of it, the criminals, the police, and anybody who are reporting crimes get attacked by a mob trying to stop the police. So they have to all work together to try to stop these, to stay alive and to stop these villains from taking over the place and killing everybody inside. So it's kind of a similar thing. Speaking of Antoine Fuqua, he is going to be directing a Michael Jackson biopic, which I think could be kind of interesting depending on how they do it. So we'll see. My daughter and a friend of hers are going to go see Megan. I guess it's today now since it's 12:33 a.m. later today on Sunday. The huge hit horror PG-13 horror movie. And because it's been so successful, a sequel has already been greenlit to appear January 17th, 2025, called Megan 2.0. So not surprising. So there we go. I talked about Steven Spielberg a little bit earlier in the show. We're going to come back to him right now. He's doing press right now for The Fabelmans, and he mentioned that he always wanted to direct TV. And now he's done bits here and there for things, but now with the whole streaming service, he wants to do something like that. And he mentions that at one time he was contemplating turning Lincoln, the successful movie, 3-hour plus movie based on the best-selling novel. I forget what it's called, but the one about him and his battles with the partisan, cabinet and stuff like that, and turned it into a 3-hour movie. He wanted to turn it into a 6-hour miniseries, but instead he just ended up making it into a 3-hour movie, and did fairly successful actually for him. Channing Tatum continues to try to make Gambit. He's been trying to make this movie forever, and he brought up again this week. He keeps trying to make it. He keeps calling Marvel, and they keep turning him down. Now, another rumor has been passed through that Deadpool 3 might show Channing Tatum's Gambit in it, so we'll see if that actually happens. I don't think it's going to. I think it's more along as somebody that they wanted, that somebody wants that, so they made up that story. It's like, oh, they're thinking about doing that. And I was like, no, I don't think they are. Trick or Treat Studios has picked up the Ghostbusters license, so you'll be seeing a lot more Ghostbusters items, statues and replicas and action figures and T-shirts, stuff like that. Probably later this year, which coincides, coincidentally enough, with, as of now, the hope for sequel to Afterlife called Firehouse coming out in December. So we'll see if that turns out, but that's a good thing for them. Okay, it's all Netflix stuff. So I think we'll do the anniversary stuff, and then we'll hit the Netflix stuff. Anniversaries. Tremors was 33 years ago this week. Another great classic movie. I've not seen it yet. It's a great Kevin Bacon performance, and I just showed it to my daughter not too long ago, and she loved it. Fun little stupid movie about giant worm-like creatures under the ground terrorizing a small town in the middle of the desert with like 12 people in it. It's great. Also in a horror, another one that's like, I wish I came up with the idea, is From Dusk Till Dawn. Is 27 years ago this week, came out this week, 27 years ago. George Clooney, Quentin Tarantino, Harvey Keitel, Juliette Lewis, Salma Hayek. Starts off looking like just a regular, typical like Pulp Fiction crime thriller sort of thing. Cheech Marin's in it also, and Danny Trejo's in it too. And it segues into a horror film where they go to a strip club that is run by vampires, and it is a gory bloodbath directed by Robert Rodriguez. The script was written by Quentin Tarantino, but it's an interesting film, and it was released 27 years ago this week, which is weird. I thought it came out more in the September frame, but I guess not. Because I saw that in the movie theater. I saw From Dusk Till Dawn in movie theaters. I don't think I saw Tremors in the movie theaters. I know I didn't see this in movie theaters, but I did see it on DVD. 15 years ago this week, Cloverfield debuted. I remember when it first came out, it was first rumored. They did not know what the heck was going on about it. There were rumors that it was a Voltron movie and other stuff. So they didn't know, a Godzilla film or whatever, because they had no idea what was going on, because it's an interesting thing. And it's a not Joss Whedon, but it's his Drew Goddard is the writer of this. And it's kind of an interesting found footage sort of movie about a giant kaiju attack, which is kind of interesting. It's, from what I recall, it's not the best, but it has its moments in it. So there you go. 30 years ago this week, Batman the Animated Series decided, hey, we have these two female villains. Why don't we team them up for an episode and see what happens? So it's the first time ever in history that Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy teamed up in an episode. And that started the friendship that has now blossomed 30 plus years later into a hugely popular adult cartoon on HBO Max, which for Christmas I got the first 2 seasons on, which is awesome. So I can watch those sometime. And has Ivy and Harley as lovers, which is outstanding. So good on you guys for that. All right, I think that is all we have for everything else. So now we're going to do Netflix, dun, but it's not dun, which is in September, which is their announcing of these projects. I remember them releasing a trailer like this last year. I guess it was around this time, but it wasn't altogether exactly truthful. They said that the Eddie Murphy Julie Louis-Dreyfus movie was going to come out this 2022. It didn't. It's coming out the 27th of January. Actually, I'll probably be able to watch that. So I'll be at camp. Oh, that's a good idea. So it'll be coming out 5 days from today. So that's Friday. So we'll be able to see it Friday. So I may have to check that out as well. You people on that one. So they had that come out. So they did this trailer, I can't remember, last year, which revealed all the movies that are coming out. And I think the shows also, that's when you saw your first footage of Sandman and Wednesday was announced and stuff like that. So this is all about movies. So they released their trailer with the dates of when these movies are going to come out. And here is what we've got. And there's some good ones I didn't actually know much about, and the behind the scenes stuff about it. So obviously the first one they talked about was You People, which is Eddie Murphy, Jonah Hill, Julie Louis-Dreyfus, David Duchovny, coming out on the 27th. I didn't do all of them because I'm not interested in all of them. They're just going to talk about the ones that I am interested in. Next up, Murder Mystery 2, the sequel to the hugely popular Jennifer Aniston and Adam Sandler film, which is kind of like a new version of the Nick and Nora storylines, which I think I'm all for. And I need to probably check out the original ones because I'm not the biggest Adam Sandler fan. But if this is sort of like a Nick and Nora sort of thing, that might be kind of cool. And these aren't trailers. These are just some behind the scenes clips with some clips from the film, just real quick, just to show you what's going on. The February is the romantic comedy with that I talked about last week with Reese Witherspoon and oh god, I just had his name from the 70s show and married to oh my god, I'm just it's killing me here. 90s show. All right. Who's married to Mila Kunis? It's Ashton Kutcher. Okay. Wow, my mind is just terrible right now. That's the February one. March 1 is Murder Mystery 2 with Jennifer Aniston and Adam Sandler. I don't know what April's was, if they even had an April one. May's is The Mother, which is the Jennifer Lopez one, where she's like a badass whose daughter's like kidnaps, like a Liam Neeson sort of movie, Taken, but she's female for that part. June, we see the arrival of Extraction 2, Chris Hemsworth returning to that role, which he actually likes more than some of his other stuff that he's done. July, we found They Cloned Tyrone. I've heard a little bit about that, and it kind of looks like an interesting sort of blaxploitation sort of thing. August 25th, on my son's birthday, Lift comes out, which is, what's his face, his new, I always get his name. It's not Chris Tucker, but it's a guy that reminds me of Chris Tucker. He's in the Jumanji movies, Friends with the Rock, Kevin something, I think. Kevin Hart, that's who it is. That's right. So Kevin Hart's new action film for Netflix, because he signed that Netflix deal. Lift is coming out on the 25th of August. I didn't see what was coming in September. October sees the arrival of Damsel with Millie Bobby Brown, Angela Bassett, and Robin Wright. Medieval sort of type of film, which looks really awesome, actually, to be honest. November, we have two. The Michael Fassbender, David Fincher movie, The Killer, comes out November 10th, 2023. And just in time for Thanksgiving, the family animated film called Leo, looks like about a chameleon who can talk and has a very Pixar-ish feel to it, comes out November 22nd. December sees the arrival of Leave the World Behind with, listen to this cast. You've got Julia Roberts, you've got Mahershala Ali, you've got Ethan Hawke, you've got Kevin Bacon, and you got an actress by the name of Myha'la, which I think is outstanding. And then you have the crappy Zack Snyder movie coming out in December as well. But I missed one also. You like pharmaceutical conspiracy thrillers? Well, now you get one with Pain Hustlers with Chris Evans and Emily Blunt, directed by David Yates, who is the director of the Harry Potter movie, the later ones. Comes out October 27th, 2023. So that's interesting to see Evans doing something. But he also, I guess, signed a deal with Netflix as well. So he did that Gray Man movie as well. And another August one is Heart of Stone, the Gal Gadot revenge thriller, coming out August 11th, 2023 as well. Now, this was not part of the trailer, but it was announced this week that Keanu Reeves will be starring in a Netflix Berserk film and anime series for Netflix. Now, Berserk, for those who don't know, is the comic book that he writes for Boom Studios, which is one of the people who runs it is my old friend from Diamond, Philip Sablik. But Keanu Reeves, we knew that he wanted to make a film and an anime series, but now it's been announced that Netflix is going to be the place where it's going to be at, and he is going to be starring in them. So no start date on it yet. So I'm looking probably not till 2020, late 2024, early 2025 at the earliest for that. But that's your stuff for Netflix this week. So coming up this year. So got some good stuff up there. Netflix is also doing, I talked about this before, they're going to attempt their first ever live streaming event. And this is going to be Chris Rock's doing a stand-up concert, and they're going to stream it live. And by the luck of the draw, they decided that they were going to stream it live, the first time ever for Netflix doing this, streaming something live, Chris Rock's comedy concert that he's going to be doing right here in Baltimore at the Hippodrome Theater on March 4th is the date now. So if you want to go be part of history, go down, buy tickets to the Chris Rock stand-up comedy concert that is on March 4th down at the Hippodrome, and you'll be part of history because it'll be Netflix's first ever live streaming event. So there you go, March 4th. Put that on your calendar for that. It's the day after my wife's birthday. Tuesday. January 24th at 8:30 a.m. we will get our Oscar nominations. So that means next week's episode of Dylan Knows, when they're at camp and I'm all by myself, we will be detailing the Oscar nominations there. A really great trailer dropped this week. The Mandalorian Season 3 full trailer dropped this week, and it looks positively awesome. So getting excited for that as well. So that was really cool. They announced this week that Attack on Titan will be returning on March 4th also, but will be divided into two parts. So it's the final season, I believe, of Attack on Titan. I think I talked about this last week, but it popped up in my this week's stuff. The History of the World Part 2 trailer on Hulu popped up. I think it was last week. So I think I talked about this last week. So I'll just check it off and move on with that. Also, speaking of Netflix, they have a movie coming out February 24th called We Have a Ghost, starring Anthony Mackie and David Harbour. And the premise is interesting. It's directed by the guy who directed Happy Death Day and Freaky. And the premise is that Anthony Mackie and his family move to a house that's haunted by a ghost, and they become a social media hugely popular because of the ghost. And Anthony Mackie decides that he can see the ghost and talk to the ghost, so they try to figure out what happened to him. But we discover that it was a government like hit, and so the government's after them now. So it starts off as like a comedy sort of thing, and then all of a sudden it turns into this really dark sort of action thriller sort of thing. So that could be kind of interesting. So that's February 24th. We Have a Ghost. Also on Netflix. Man, Netflix is going full craziness, aren't they? Disney Plus is getting on board with Tom Ellis and Emma Roberts will be starring in a series called The Second Wife. Don't know anything about that, but it'll be on Disney Plus. Snowpiercer season 4, based on the movie, has been finished, but TNT has said we're not going to air it, so you got to air somewhere else, which doesn't make sense. You air the first 3 seasons, the season is done. Why aren't you airing it? It's like a new thing now where they pay money to do this, and then they can write it off when they don't air it. It happens on HBO Max. It's happened on AMC. So I don't know what's going on with that. So that's stupid. Scientists have stumbled upon a graveyard for sharks in the deep under the ocean. So that's kind of an interesting kind of story. Man spotted sleeping safe and sound alone with 4 bears, which is kind of interesting. Don't know how that happened, but here we are. A white lion and a white tiger have a baby together. They fell in love and they had a baby together. 2 male lions were spotted in Kenya having sex with each other. So homosexuality is not just a human trait. So that's pretty good. In Alaska, a bald eagle, 2 cats, and a wild fox like to hang out on this elderly woman's porch, and they don't go after each other. They just sort of chill out and say, "What's up, yo? Hey, what's going on?" I keep talking about these things because it happens all the time, but the first ever white cougar has been spotted in Brazil's Atlantic forest. So that's kind of interesting. A black Canadian lynx has been spotted for the first time up there in Canada. So you get the white animals, you don't see that often. You get the black ones, you don't see all that often. So that's kind of an interesting little take on things. I've already talked about that one. Didn't I talk about that one before? Maybe I talked about it and I should have been talking about a different one. Oh, that's what a bear makes himself comfortable and relaxed on a thrown out sofa. That's what that one is. Okay, so that's kind of, you see this bear just chilling on a sofa, which is kind of funny. Speaking of being chilling out, Jeremy Renner is back home after his New Year's Day accident, recovering from his incident, but he's back home enough, so they appear to be okay with him, being taken care of at home. So good for him to be amongst all his family and friends. Sandman season 2 starts filming this summer. Stranger Things season 5 starts filming this summer, and Thunderbolts also starts filming this summer. So those are all good. Odessa is a new film to star Sadie Sink from Stranger Things. It's a post-apocalyptic rock opera by Jeremy Jasper. So she's going to do that probably right before she starts Stranger Things season 5. So that's kind of interesting. Season 3 of Only Murders in the Building with Steve Martin, Martin Short, and Selena Gomez has got some major star power added to this season. We knew Paul Rudd was going to be in it. And now Meryl Streep has also been cast in this season 3 of the show. Also in really good casting, Tom Clancy has, back in the 90s, he had a huge following with his Jack Ryan stuff, Hunt for October, Patriot Games, Clear and Present Danger, Some of All Fears. And then they've tried to reboot him a couple times with Jack Ryan, and then they did the TV show Jack Ryan as well. But Tom Clancy wrote other books that didn't have Jack Clancy in it, but were about a character that has appeared in the books that Jack Ryan has been involved in. And we saw one already. Michael B. Jordan was cast in the role of, I forget the name of the character, but in the movie Without Remorse, based on the Tom Clancy novel. And that same character pops up again in Tom Clancy's novel Rainbow Six. Well, it was announced this week that Michael B. Jordan will be reprising his role from Without Remorse in a Rainbow Six movie that'll be directed by John Wick director Chaz Stahelski, which is really good. So that could be fairly interesting. That's another one I should probably take a look at, Without Remorse. So it's based on the Tom Clancy novel, and it's Michael B. Jordan, so it's probably really, really good. The Chinese have agreed to have Marvel movies be shown in their theaters again after a ban of a couple years. They will start with Wakanda Forever and Quantumania. And I'm sorry to hear that, James Cameron, because that's how your stupid Avatar movie got to make so much money, is because China is helping, build the cloud with that. But now with these stuff, these guys are going to make you a run for your money as well. So you thought you were winning, you're not winning. Channing Tatum makes his second appearance on the show this week. This one I'm not as excited about. I mean, he keeps pushing this Gambit thing, and that's kind of getting a little bit depressing that he keeps doing it. But this is a little bit more upsetting because I love Patrick Swayze. I love Demi Moore. I love Whoopi Goldberg. I love Tony Goldwyn. And they made a great movie. Jerry Zucker directed it. It's a fantastic movie called Ghost. And it doesn't need to be remade, and Channing Tatum has bought the rights, and he wants to remake it and star as the main character. And I was like, no, you can't do that, Channing Tatum. Please don't. But he is, so blurg. Where's that? Nicholas Lyndhurst and Jack Cutmore Scott have been cast in the new Frasier reboot that's going to be on Paramount Plus. Nicholas Lyndhurst plays an old British friend of Frasier's from his Oxford days, and Jack Cutmore Scott will be playing his oldest son, Frasier's oldest son. So there's none of the cast from the old show will be there, so it's like a whole new cast and stuff like that. And the theory is now that this Nicholas Lyndhurst guy, who's a British actor, has been cast. Looks like it might be taking place in London after all. Chewy Chips Ahoy has released their confetti cake cookie. Captain Crunch has released their Oops All Red Berry cereal just in time for Valentine's Day. So if you just like the berries and not the crunch of it, go for that as well. David Blaine, magician David Blaine, stabs himself with an ice pick while performing a magic trick he's done 1,000,000 times. And for whatever reason, it didn't work this time, and he stabbed himself with the ice pick. SEPTA is going to be bringing back the old school trolleys back to the streets of Philadelphia, which, again, it's a Philly story. We're about 2.5 hours from Philly, and it's Philly. I'm not the biggest fan of Philly, but it's an interesting story that they're going to bring back these old school trolleys again, which is really neat. A couple of deaths on this page, and then we'll get to the Critics' Choice Awards. Comic artist Jason Pearson died at the age of 52. He's mostly known for his anthology Body Bags, but he's done some other stuff. He sort of was a popular in the late 90s sort of style artist. Ring of Honor wrestler, tag team champion Jay Briscoe is dead at the age of 38 this week. Don't know much about that, but there we go. Gina Lollobrigida, dead at 95. She was an Italian sex pot actress who gets a call out in the movie Apollo 13, which is kind of interesting. No, not Apollo 13. In That Thing You Do, because they're doing an old show and they have a astronaut come on and talk about Gina Lollobrigida. So I guess she was a huge sex pot actress and then Italian sex pot, like the Italian Marilyn Monroe, I guess. Being 95 years old makes sense, but she passed away this week as well. And C.J. Harris, former American Idol contestant, died at the age of 31 this week as well. All right, the Critics' Choice Awards. As I said, it's award season, and let me get you the Critics' Choice Awards 2023 winners, because there's actually some really good winners in this, and I'm really excited about this. So, when there's some shitty ones, I guess. Okay. All right. Film. The best Critics' Choice best film was Everything Everywhere All at Once. Best actor was Brendan Fraser for The Whale. Best actress was Cate Blanchett for Tar, which is the second win she's had so far. Best supporting actor was Ki Hu Huang for Everything Everywhere All at Once. This is his second win also, so he's really racking stuff up. Best supporting actress, this is her second win also. Angela Bassett, Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. Best young actor, actress, which is one of the things the Critics' Choice Awards does. Gabrielle Bell for The Fabelmans. Best acting ensemble, Glass Onion and Knives Out Mystery was the winner of that. Best director, Daniel Kwan and Daniel Scheinhardt for Everything Everywhere All at Once. I have that movie. I probably need to check that out myself. Best original screenplay, Daniel Kwan and Daniel Scheinhardt for Everything Everywhere All at Once. Best adapted screenplay, Sarah Polley for Women Talking. Best cinematography, Claudio Miranda for Top Gun Maverick. Best production design, Florence Martin and Anthony Carlino for Babylon. Best editing, Paul Rogers for Everything Everywhere All at Once. I think that's probably a dead cert in the Oscars if it gets nominated, because just the keeping up with all the multiverse stuff has got to be insane. Best costume design winner, Ruth E. Carter for Black Panther Wakanda Forever. Best hair and makeup, the winner was Elvis. Best visual effects was Avatar Way of Water. Blech. Best comedy, Glass Onions, A Knives Out Mystery. Good job on that. Best animated film, Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio, which again is probably another dead cert to win the Oscar as well if it gets nominated. Best foreign language film is which is surprising because All Quiet on the Western Front, which is a British movie, has gotten 14 BAFTA award nominations. So we'll see what happens with that. Best song is Natu Natu from Interesting. Best score, this one's probably a pretty good one too to pick. Hildur Guðnadóttir for Tar. On the TV side, the best drama series was Better Call Saul. Best actor in a drama series, Bob Odenkirk for Better Call Saul. Best actress in a drama series is, I don't want to see that, Zendaya, Euphoria. Best supporting actor in a drama series, Giancarlo Esposito in Better Call Saul. Best supporting actress in a drama series, Jennifer Coolidge for The White Lotus. Best comedy series, Abbott Elementary. Best actor in a comedy series, Jeremy Allen White for The Bear, which is all like Golden Globes repeated over and over again. Best actress in a comedy series, Jean Smart for Hacks. Best supporting actor in a comedy series, Henry Winkler for Barry. Best supporting actress in a comedy series, Cheryl Lee Ralph for Abbott Elementary. Best limited series, The Dropout by Hulu. Best movie made for television, Weird, the Weird Al Yankovic Story. Best actor in a limited series or movie made for television, Daniel Radcliffe for Weird, the Al Yankovic Story. How about that? Best actor in a limited series or movie made for television, Amanda Seyfried for The Dropout. Best supporting actor in a limited series or movie made for television, Paul Walter Hauser for Blackbird. Best supporting actress in a limited series or movie made for television, Nicey Nash Betts for Dahmer. Best foreign language series, Pachinko on Apple TV. Best animated series, Harley Quinn. There you go, HBO Max. Best talk show, Last Week Tonight with John Oliver. Best comedy special, Norm Macdonald, Nothing Special. So those are your Critics' Choice Award winners. So a pattern starting to form, and we'll see if that continues on Tuesday when we get our Oscars. So that'd be kind of interesting to see where that's all going to go. And I think we get ready to finish up here. We got a half a page, and then we are out. Anniversaries, we have Hard Rain, the Christian Slater action film that was big around the mid-90s. They had a whole bunch of those. There was one with Keanu Reeves did one with Morgan Freeman. It was like it was an actor would team up, a young actor team up with an old actor, and that would be a huge hit. So 25 years for Hard Rain. 2 years ago this week, WandaVision. I will always talk about WandaVision. Debuted. It was an excellent Marvel cinematic series, and the first one for Disney Plus, and it was phenomenal. Fallen, another great movie I thought came out later in the year, came out 25 years ago this week. I saw that in the movie theater also 25 years ago. Let me think about this then. Let's see, 23, 13, 03, 02, 01, 100, 99, 98, 1998. No, that wasn't the year I watched 51 movies in the movie theater. But Fallen is a great horror film with Denzel Washington, John Goodman. Who else is in that? I can't think of it right now. James Gandolfini's in it as well. It's fantastic. If you haven't seen it yet, it is outstanding. It is so good. Still haven't shown my daughter yet. I'm trying to as best I can right now. So we will. Chucky gets a season 3 renewal on Sci-Fi, as does Reginald the Vampire. He gets renewed for his 2nd season, so good on those. The only other death I have this week is Devin Willock, and he's an O lineman for the Kansas Bulldogs. He just won the national championship, and a recruiting staff member died in a car crash. That's kind of a awful sort of story. You just win the national championship, and then you get killed in a car accident. That's absolutely awful. 200-year-old seeds were discovered in 1963 in an ancient jar in Israel. Finally, in 2005, scientists decided to plant it to see what would happen, and a tree has sprouted that has not been seen in 1,800 years. So I don't know what else you were expecting for that, but there you go. Adam Sandler will be getting the Mark Twain Award, which is a prestigious comedy award. Steve Martin's won it before, stuff like that. I'm going to proclaim this forever, and I need to pick this up when it comes out. Marvel Comics has the Star Wars comics rights, and they have been releasing a ton of Star Wars material. They've got Han Solo and Chewie. They got Yoda. They got the Star Wars one. They got Dr. Aphra. They've got Darth Vader. They got all these bounty hunters. They got a ton of series. And they're finally doing an Ewok series. Now, it's not going to be like the cartoony Ewok stuff, because for one, everybody complains about Return of the Jedi being the worst of the trilogy because of the Ewoks and how they beat down the overpowered Empire with a bunch of cuddly teddy bears. That's the key right there. They're miniature bears. Okay? They might not be tall-ass bears, but they are mean, vicious little shits. And they have their own weapons, and they are willing to eat people. They were cooking Han and Chewie and Luke to eat in a festival. And a lot of people say that, the stormtroopers that were knocked out or whatever, the reason why they didn't get back up and, after being just knocked out by a rock or whatever, is because the Ewoks jumped on them and ate him. So I think the Ewoks should be given a lot more credit, and this comic is going to show that, and I want to see it really, really bad. So if they announce it now, I would assume it's probably in the new previews that's probably going to come out in February, because they usually do it a couple weeks before then, so February, March. So April, we'll probably be looking at the Ewoks comic coming out. So we'll verify that for sure, but I want to see that comic, and I want to see the Ewoks finally get what they deserve, which is be treated with more respect than people actually do give them, because, they're so cute. They're little miniature bears, and they eat people. Why do you think they had a dress that fit Leia? They probably ate the person it belonged to. And, being hit with rocks and beaten with axes, stuff like that, is not going to kill a soldier in armor. So what they probably did was they probably beat them down so that they were a little, they couldn't get back up or whatever. And then they tore probably the helmet off, and then they probably bit into the jugular, sucked all his blood out, and then started feasting on his remains, or just killed him that way and then put him off to the side to help keep fighting. And then, why do you think they're having the big barbecue? Why do you think they're having the big party? Guess what they're eating? They're probably eating the stormtroopers. Give the Ewoks some goddamn respect, people. Finally, to end tonight's episode, I talked about John Larroquette earlier with his return to Night Court, which is a huge hit. Well, during the press junket for this, he revealed a very interesting story. And I did not know this, I've never actually seen Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but there apparently is a narration that narrates the story. And the narrator is John Larroquette. So he narrated the Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie from the early 70s. John Larroquette revealed this week in the press junket that he was paid in weed to narrate the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. So let's face facts. He was probably in his 20s at that time. So absolutely probably would want to have weed as a payment. It was the 70s, man. All right, that is it for this week, kids and wife camping. Oscar noms. I'm already writing down some stuff. So next weekend, my wife and kids are, for the first time this year, are going to be out the door for the weekend, get my first free weekend of the year without the wife and kids. So I'll probably be watching some movies, maybe catching up on the Scream movies, probably checking out that 90s show, maybe some other stuff as well. Haven't decided yet, but I've got to get through this week. To do that, I got to get over this sore throat, mucus sore thing. I might take a day off this week from work if I don't feel any better, just to stay home and just relax. So we'll find out about that. But next week's show, I will be home alone. They're winter camping, so they're not actually camping out in the cold. They're going to be camping in heated cabins, and the bathroom's going to be heated. But it's going to be a huge event because the Cub Scouts are going to be with them also. So it's going to be a massive, fun time for them. I think they're going to have a blast. So good on them. So that's it for this week. Thank you for watching. Dylan Knows, the cure for insomnia. If you made it this far and you're still not asleep, I'm sorry. I tried my best. I don't know what to do now, but maybe go back and watch another old episode of mine. But we'll see. Anyway, thanks for watching. Have a great rest of your weekend. Happy New Year! It is the year of the rabbit. Enjoy yourself, and happy birthday to my nephew. I'll probably send you a text a little later today. And, oh, by the way, Eagles and Chiefs have advanced to their championship games. They will be hosting those championship games since they were the number 1 seed. So tomorrow we get who their opponents are going to be. We got Bills, Bengals, and we got Cowboys and 49ers. My predictions, it's going to be 49ers, Eagles, Bills, Chiefs. And Super Bowl, I think we're going to be looking at a Chiefs 49ers Super Bowl. But it wouldn't surprise me if the Eagles end up, because they demolished the Giants today. So we'll see. And honestly, I don't care, because my team got kicked out early of the playoffs in a game they absolutely should have won. And now we've got all the drama that's going to be coming with our offseason, starting with, as I said earlier in the show, our offensive coordinator leaving their job. But that's it. I'm done talking. I have to keep talking for about another 10 seconds so I can get that, try to hit that level at 127. So thanks for watching. Next week, I'm home alone. Have a good week. Be safe. Take care of yourselves. Feel better, and good night.